Welcome to Fair Alert. Let's paint.
Okay, so today we are back to our Transfer Bloom series. I've still not made it to the Sherwin-Williams store, but I did have some of this Adriatic blue just sitting here, not doing anything. So I thought, hey, let's use her. I love this color. It's so pretty. It dries so beautifully, I suppose is the best way to put that. So our colors today aren't straying too far from our regular palette. I am using Cloud White, my Cloud Mix, my Feral Cloud Mix, whatever you want to call it, in this. There we go. Break those bubbles. So that is the first thing I'm going to put down because this dries pretty darn dark. So let's just get this first bloom going here. Going in with some jewel tones. I'm using a really nice rich jewel tone palette. These paints are a little thick. That is by design. I am trying to see if I think thicker paints work better for this technique. I have a sneaky hunch they just might. We shall see. I am using TLPs today as well, and I have thickened them up real good with some gloss gel. And when you're gonna try something, just flip and try it. So here we go with another tube paint. I am just using one layer today, but I do have 7 colors. One of them being the white. So that's a lot more than I usually have, and I'm not skimping on amount. I decided on this one that I would coordinate my TLP colors with my tube paint colors. Yay! We're going to go in with some white here because my next color is green. Green and red make yuck as a general rule. I don't really want yuck in my painting. So we're just going to throw a little cloud mix in here to mount my green upon. We'll see how this works. Hopefully the white will do its job. I noticed that in blooms you don't get the same amount of like mud getting as you do in regular acrylic pours. That is my experience up to this point. Let's hope it continues. And another piggy. I'm going to get a little artistical with this green right here. And another tube paint. And another piggy. Now, it is time for CA, but I don't like to put CAs on top of piggies. This is a pretty well-known thing with people who bloom is you don't just, don't do that. It just doesn't ever work out very well for anybody. So I am going to put blue in here. One, I love this color of blue. And two, it's the next sort of natural progression, even though it's over gold, which always gives me a little pause because green. All right, there we go. Now, let's get our CAs. What do we have? I have Amsterdam Permanent Blue Violet. Already getting a little halo effect, yay. And I have titanium white Amsterdam. Now I have this new blower that I just got. I used it once but didn't get to show y'all because the painting didn't turn out. It is this Air Duster Turbo Jet Fan. Got it off of Amazon. I am not sponsored. I bought this with my own money, just like I do everything else. So let's see how this works for blowing out. Okay, wow. I am going to change my little concentrator to this one. There we go. And let her go. One thing you want to do if you get one of these, when you get ready to turn it off, it changes levels when you push the little button. So you go low, medium, high, off. So if you're blowing and you want to turn it off, turn it away from your painting because you'll blow your paint all the way to St. Louis. All right. So we're going to let this percolate and I'm going to set up my next canvas. All right, this is a 16 by 20 and we're going to prepare it to take our transfer. So this is our pillow. It's our PPG Multi-Pro 47-3110. As per usual, I will be trying to pour my pillow out in the same shape as the canvas, just smaller. That way when it spreads, it will spread to the corners and not just in a big oval or round shape. That's what works best for me. All right, let's see where we get with that. I just like to tilt it out bigger so it's not so thick in the middle. It gets it closer to the sides, closer to the corners, and that way when you spin, your paint is sort of all evened out and already closer to the places that you want it to go. Now I have two scoopers here. One has the gutters on it that I made when I was doing pleats. Very handy for that. I'm thinking that maybe it'll be just as handy to have one without the gutters for transfers. Is that true? I don't know. We're going to find out. In some ways, I'm rethinking that, but we're going to see. So we're going to take some of our Adriatic Sea that we used on our original bloom. Put it on here. Stick that can over in the corner where it can just sit, be out of the way. And we're going to kind of tilt this around on here, smear it around a little bit. That's just to wet the surface so that our original bloom can flow and not stick and curl over itself. A wet surface is always preferable. That's a good start right there. So take this in this hand And we'll take our original in this hand and we'll scoop it up. And lay it down. And slow down as we go across, because the paint slows down. And then scoop. Gonna lay our scooper down on top of our original canvas upside down so it doesn't dry out. We're just gonna gently move this around a little bit. See what we get. That's about where I want to be. About right there. Woo! Look at her go. All right, and we are just gonna flip this around. I'm gonna go a little bit that way. I need to change my foil, I think. This foil probably weighs 15 pounds with all the paint that's on it. And we're just gonna give this a gentle spin. That got a pretty good spread. Nice. And I am going to go back and grab these corners and get them a little wet. Again, it just helps things flow. It sounds like my dogs are having a party upstairs. That's nice. I wasn't even invited. Rude. All right. A spinning we will go. Cool. Now, all of our corners are covered. Everything is covered. I am going to spin the devil out of this just to see if I can get some baby cells. Ran that right into my thumb. No, not really, but that's interesting. Very interesting. Lots of green and blue. Gold, purple, a little red. Cool. I'm gonna give it about one more good spin, then we're gonna check it. Okay, that's neat. Let's check. That's pretty good. Got about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, maybe. I am going to spin it one more time for safety, and then we will come in for a close-up. These safety spins are more just to make sure that the whole middle is spun out. That's the place where there's usually most of the paint, because around the outside, because of centrifugal force, the outsides go off first, so you end up thicker in the middle if you're not careful. So that's why I always do that last safety spin. Okay. Oh, neat. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna clean this up and I'll bring you in. Okay, here are our wet results. How friggin' cool. This is another one that has turned out to have sort of a watery, interesting vibe, layers of color. The cloud mix in these does something very interesting. It doesn't really, I don't know, it's just different. I can't really explain it. It's a soft white sort of underneath things. Right here, you can kind of see that cascade effect that it did. That's really neat. Sorry about the glare. Is it just me, or does anybody else kind of see a steer skull right here? Anyway, interesting. I really like the way that this one worked out. It is very cool, very layered. I think that is neat-o. So anyway, there's our wet results. I think it's pretty cool. Now we're going to go in and see if we can find the tribe of the sparklies. Here's sparkly, sparkly. I think we found some. That's a glow, man. How cool is this? It is just so layered looking. Wow. The purple and the white CA really just made sort of a net on top in places. And then this gold piggy and all the other piggies, all of them are repping quite well. That gold is, ooh, she is something else. That's that harvest gold, I believe. Yes, indeedy. Well, we don't have any shortage of sparklies. Look at that. Surprise! There's some red sparklies. Yes. Let's see what else we can dig up in here. I believe we should be seeing some green and blue sparklies somewhere. Maybe underneath these layers. Can you see the striations in that? That is so neat. I do love me some striations and things. That cloud mix just acts really interesting in here. Truly I do. Cool. I'm just looking to see what I can find. Look at that. Wow. That blue is amazing in there. And the purple overlay, I almost used black, and I thought, yeah, well, maybe I'll just use this purple instead. And boy, am I glad I did. That gold is masterful. That has gold and red both. Can you see? It's kind of like orangey. That's neat. Where did my blue and green go? Maybe we're going to find some here in a minute. These little cells are cool. They're so multicolored. Have that blue outline. That's cool. What else we got going on here? That's funny. The blue and the green sparklies. Oh, there's some green. There's some green. I'm excited. There's some green. See the green? Green. Nice. Where's the blue? Where's the blue? That's, ooh, look at that red. Yes. How cool. Look at that. I still see a steer skull. Ooh, with an eyeball. Oh, no. That's crazy. I think there's some blue right in there. I can see sort of a purple, so it's probably a mix of the blue and the red. Cool. I know there's blue in here. I know there is. I know it. I know it. I just can't quite pick it out. Maybe the blue's just not as obnoxious as the gold is. I mean, the gold is obnoxious, but it's not in a bad way. Kind of like me. Anyway, there we go. What a cool outcome. There's blue and green and gold. Cool. So, you know what time it is. Look at that swirly. Wow. It is time for me to go live my life. And I will see you guys when this one is dry. Here are the dry results of the first of my Transfer Bloom series. I think this one turned out really cool. It is so glowy. And we don't have much sun, but I don't even know. Yeah, I guess you can see it. I can kind of see it. Anyway, this turned out really pretty. And I am pretty happy with it. We lost some of our colors. I mean, they're there. You can see them all. It's just some colors are stronger than others. And anytime there is a green involved, it's going to try to take over. It's so funny because the gold was so predominant when it was wet. And now it's the green and the blue that are just all over the place. Look at that wispiness in there. How cool is that? And am I still the only one that sees a steer's skull? That just weirds me out a little bit. I just really think this is cool. I love these little wispy bits in here. This whole thing is just really airy, I think. What do you think? Do let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for coming and spending your precious time with me today. I surely do appreciate it. And before you go, make sure that subscribe button is pushed. Ring the bell so you know when I'm making new content. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I'll get back to you. I always do. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.